What's up, guys? Welcome to ASMR Sleep Talk. This is the Learn While You Sleep series. I'm going to be doing the introduction to anatomy and physiology. I'm going to try and cover the most important parts. Obviously, the professors, they say that it's all important, but I took the class, and I don't think everything is equally important, and it also depends on what you do. Hopefully you're going to learn something from this. This is the Open Stax textbook. It's free. Alright. So pretty much all this talks about is why you need to know A and P. Obviously you're taking it because you need it for a class. Anatomy is the scientific study of the body structures. Some of these structures are very small and can only be observed and analyzed with the assistance of a microscope. There you go. Gross anatomy is the study of the larger structures of the body, those visible without the aid of magnification. Macro means large. Micro means small. Microscopic anatomy is the study of the small structures that you need to use and see with the microscope. Regional anatomy is the study of the interrelations of all the structures in a specific body region, such as the abdomen. Systemic anatomy is just the study of the organizations and groups of a body system, kidney system, skeletal muscle system. Physiology is the scientific study of the chemistry and physics of the structures of the body and the ways in which they work together to support the functions of life. Homeostasis is a pretty important concept. It just means how the body maintains and regulates a normal condition. Homeostasis is the state of steady internal conditions maintained by living things. There you go. Alright, let's keep going. Okay. This is just a little chart, right? So you got the level of the organism. That's when you got the organ systems working together to perform the function of an independent organism. First, organ system level. Two or more organs work closely together to perform the functions of a body system. Organ level. Two or more different tissues combine to form an organ. Tissue level. A community of similar cells form a body tissue. Cellular level. A variety of molecules combine to form the fluids and organelles. Hydrogen atoms. Obviously, just the atoms. So there you go. Okay. Why is this level of organization important? Because your professor says so. Here's an overview of the different body systems: integumentary, skin, skeletal system, bones, and muscles. Skeletal system supports the body. Muscular system, muscle, nervous system, nerves, brain and spinal cord. Pituitary gland is part of the endocrine system, and the cardiovascular system is the heart. The lymphatic system, that's the body's drainage system, brings it back. Respiratory system, the lungs. Digestive system, obviously whatever you eat. Stomach, liver, gallbladder, large intestine, small intestine. Urinary system, kidneys and urinary bladder. That's how you remove fluids. And then you have the reproductive, males and females. Okay. Let's keep going. Responsiveness is the ability of an organism to adjust changes in its internal and external environments. An example of responsiveness to external stimuli could include moving towards sources of food and water and away from perceived dangers. Movement. Alright, there you go, movement. Development is all of the changes the body goes through in life. development includes the process of differentiation, in which unspecialized cells become specialized in structure and function to perform certain tasks in the body. Development also includes the process of growth and repair, both of which could involve cell differentiation. That's to get into it. That's they're talking about like stem cells and stuff. It's kind of crazy, but cells get specialized. So growth is an increase in body's reproduction, obviously. You're making new organisms. Why you need oxygen? You need to breathe. Well, it's more complicated than that, but nutrient is a substance in food and beverages that is essential to human survival. Three basic classes of nutrients are water, the energy yielding and bodybuilding nutrients, and the micronutrients, vitamins, and minerals. Yeah, you can't live long without water. A few days. This just talks about how your body likes 98.6. A little over, a little under is okay. To maintain homeostasis, your body sweats. Okay. Let's keep going. Pressure. That's atmospheric pressure is a pressure exerted by the mixture of gases in the Earth's atmosphere. It's a force exerted by a substance that is in contact with another substance. As you go higher, pressure gets more. Okay, you got okay, homeostasis. Negative and positive feedback. So normal range is a restricted set of values that is optimally beautiful, healthy and stable. Optimally healthy and stable. Negative feedback is a mechanism that reverses a deviation from a set point. Therefore, negative feedback goes on throughout the body at all times, and an understanding of negative feedback is thus fundamental to an understanding of human physiology. Again, negative feedback involves a sensor, control center, and an effector. There we go. So, the stimulus creates a response. Right? And those two things are generally going to be opposite. Like a thermostat. Too hot, right? If it's too hot, the stimulus, right? So you got the stimulus, it's too hot. The response is going to turn the temperature down in the thermostat. There's also a positive feedback. It's just the opposite. So here we got a picture. Okay. Nerve impulse from cervix transmitted to brain. Brain stimulates pituitary gland to secrete oxytocin. Oxytocin carried in bloodstream and uterus. Oxytocin stimulates uterine contraction, pushes baby towards cervix. And then nerve impulses from cervix transmitted in brain. So it just keeps going. It's like positive feedback. It's like when you're trying to get money, right? Y'all's gonna want to keep getting money. So y'all's want to go get money. So it's a positive feedback. Get money. Go get more money. Negative feedback. You ain't want to pay the bills. So, but you're gonna pay it. So that it doesn't keep going. Doesn't keep going. Alright, anatomical terminology. That's pretty important. You gotta know that. So let's go over that. anatomical position. So here you go. That's anatomical position. Thumbs away from the body, standing forward. Feet slightly spaced, looking forward. So whenever you do the anatomy, when you gotta refer to the anatomical position. So if they say distal or proximal, proximal is closer and distal is gonna be further. So distal to the hand is gonna be the fingers, right? And if they say proximal, that means it's gonna be closer to the joint that they're referring to. So let me see. You got anterior, describes the front or direction toward the front of the body. The toes are anterior to the foot. Posterior describes the back or direction toward the back of the body. This popliteus is posterior to the patella. Superior describes a position above or higher than another part of the body proper. The orbits are superior to the oris. Inferior describes a position below or lower than another part of the body, nearer toward the tail. Pelvis is inferior to the abdomen. Lateral to the side. Medial to the middle. There you go. Proximal position describes a position in limb that is near to the point of attachment or the trunk of the body. The brachium is proximal to the antebrachium. So if they say proximal, right, it's going to go closer to the trunk. Superficial describes a position closer to the surface of the body. The skin is superficial to the bones. Deep describes a position farther from the surface of the body. Brain is deep to the skull. Okay. Alright, body planes. Let's go. Sagittal frontal transverse. It's how you cut the body into planes. Sagittal plane is the plane that divides the body of an organ vertically into the right and left sides. If this vertical plane runs directly from the middle of the body, it is called the mid-sagittal or medial plane. If it divides the body into unequal left and right sides, it is called parasagittal plane, or less commonly longitudinal section. I won't worry about that too much. A frontal plane, and then the transverse plane. Transverse plane deals with rotation, and then the frontal plane deals with abduction. Okay, we can get into that later. Body cavities and serous membrane. Well, that's has to do with body cavities, so but you gotta notice. The posterior cavity and ventral anterior cavity are the largest body compartments. These cavities contain and protect delicate internal organs, and the ventral cavity allows for a significant change in shape, in the size and shape of the organs as they perform the function. The lungs, heart, stomach, and intestines, for example, can expand and contract without distorting other tissues or disrupting the activity of nearby organs. And it breaks it down, right? Cranial cavity, spinal cavity, thoracic cavity, abdominal pelvic cavity. Gotta zoom in real quick. Alright, so you got these other cavities, and then they break it down into regions and quadrants. Left hypochondriac, right hypochondriac, and you gotta think that it's not your right, it's the opposite. So your right is somebody's, if you're talking about where your right is, that's somebody's left if they're looking at you. So always keep that in mind. Right lumbar region, right iliac region, hypogastric, umbilical, left lumbar region, left iliac region. Oh, there's the quadrants. was in class, I mean, you gotta know it, but this part wasn't really that crazy hard. Serous membrane is one of the thin membranes that cover the walls and organs in the thoracic and abdominal pelvic cavities. The parietal layers of the membranes line the walls of the body cavity. A visceral layer of the membrane covers the organs. Between the parietal and visceral layers is a very thin fluid-filled space or cavity. There you go. The pleura is the serous membrane that encloses the pleural cavity. The pleural cavity surrounds the lung. The pericardium is the serous membrane that encloses the pericardial cavity. The pericardial cavity surrounds the heart. The peritoneum is the serous membrane that encloses the peritoneal cavity. Pericardium is the serous membrane that encloses the pericardial cavity. The pericardial cavity surrounds the heart. The peritoneum is the serous membrane that encloses the peritoneal cavity. The peritoneal cavity surrounds several organs in the abdominal pelvic cavity. There you go. I guess you want to be a heart surgeon. Imaging, X-ray. It's good for bones. Alright, there you go. If you got a fracture, arthritis, X-ray will do it. Doesn't show soft tissue that well though. CT scan, non-invasive imaging technique that uses computer to analyze several cross-sectional X-rays in order to reveal minute details about structures in the body. Usually when they're doing like brain stuff, it's a CT scan. MRI is pretty prevalent. That's when they're really looking at soft tissue stuff. So you're gonna be able to see tears and stuff. Ultrasonography and positive emission tomography. I haven't really heard about this too much in the medical field, but granted, what I do, it doesn't really involve that, but I'll read it. Positron emission tomography is a medical imaging technique involving the use of so-called radiopharmaceuticals, substances that emit radiation that is short-lived and therefore relatively safe to administer to the body. The main advantage is that PET can illustrate physiological activity, including nutrient metabolism, blood flow of the organs or organs being targeted, whereas CT and MRI scans can only show static images. Heart disease, cancer, infection, brain abnormalities, bone disease, and thyroid disease is diagnosed with PET. Ultrasonography, sound waves. Best thing about it is pregnancies. They'll use a ultrasound machine. Okay, now let's get into some key terms. Abdominal pelvic cavity, division of the anterior ventral cavity that houses the abdominal and pelvic fistula. Okay. Anabolism, assembly of more complex molecules from simpler molecules. Anatomical position, standard reference position used for describing locations and directions on the human body. Remember, you always gotta refer back to an anatomical position. Anatomy is science that studies the form and composition of the body structures. Anterior, front of the body. Anterior cavity, larger body cavity located anterior to the posterior body cavity. Encloses serous membrane, lined pleural cavities for the lungs, pericardial cavity for the heart, and peritoneal cavity for the abdominal and pelvic organs, also referred to as ventral cavity. Catabolism, breaking down of more complex molecules into simpler molecules. Caudal, position below or lower than another part of the body. Or toward the cell. Smallest independently functioning functioning unit of all organisms. In animal, a cell contains cytoplasm composed of fluid and organelles. CT, medical imaging technique in which a computer-enhanced cross-sectional X-ray images is obtained. Crane, I'm gonna skip. I don't think control center. Okay, I'll just read it. Compares value to the normal range. Deviations cause the activation of an effector. Deep describes a position farther from the surface of the body. Changes in organism development. Changes in organism goes through during its life. Differentiation. Process by which unspecialized cells become specialized in structure and function. Distal describes a position farther from the point of attachment or the trunk of the body. Dorsal describes the back or direction toward the back of the body, also referred to as the posterior. Dorsal cavity, posterior body cavity that houses the brain and spinal cord, also referred to as the posterior body cavity. Effector, organ that can cause a change in value. Frontal plane, two-dimensional vertical plane that divides the body or organ into anterior and posterior portions. Just remember, side to side. Gross anatomy, study of the larger structures of the body, typically with the unaided eye, also referred to as macroscopic anatomy. The growth, process of increasing in size. Homeostasis, keeping everything within a range. Inferior, below, lower than another part of the body. Lateral, to the side. MRI, medical imaging technique in which the device generates a magnetic field to obtain detailed sectional images of the internal structures of the body. Medial to the middle. Metabolism, all of the chemical reactions. Microscopic anatomy, study of small structures. Using magnification, negative feedback, turning off something. Homeostatic mechanism that tends to stabilize an upset in the body's physiological condition by preventing an excessive response to a stimulus, typically as the stimulus is removed. Normal range of values around the set point that do not cause a reaction by the control center. Nutrient, chemical obtained from foods and beverages that is critical to human survival. Organ, functionally distinct structure composed of two or more types of tissue. Organ system, group of organs that work together to carry out a particular function. Organism, living being that has a cellular structure and that can independently perform all physiological functions necessary for life. Pericardium, sac that encloses the heart. Peritoneum. Serous membrane that lines the abdominal pelvic cavity and covers the organ found in. Physiology, science that studies the chemistry, biochemistry, and physics of the body function. Pleura, serous membrane that lines the pleural cavity and covers the lungs. Positive feedback, mechanism that intensifies a change in the body's physiological condition in response to a stimulus. Oh man, we got a long way to go. PET, positive emission tomography, medical imaging technique in which radiopharmaceuticals are traced to reveal metabolic and physiological functions in tissue. Posterior back, posterior cavity, posterior body cavity that houses the brain and spinal cord, also referred to as dorsal cavity. Pressure, force exerted by the substance in contact with another substance. Prone is laying face down. Regional anatomy, study of the structures that contribute to specific body regions. Renewal, process by which worn out cells are replaced. Reproduction, process by which new organisms are generated. Responsiveness, ability of an organism or a system to adjust to changes in conditions. sagittal plane, two-dimensional vertical plane that divides the body of organ to right and left side. Section in anatomy, a single flat surface of a three-dimensional structure that has never been cut through. Sensor, monitored physiological values of the control center. Serosa, membrane that covers organs and reduces friction, also referred to as serous membrane. Serous membrane, membrane that covers organs and reduces friction, also referred to as serosa. Set point, ideal value for a physiological parameter. Level or small range within which a physiological parameter such as blood pressure is stable. And optimally helpful test within its parameter of homeostasis. Spinal cavity, division of the dorsal cavity that houses the spinal cord, also referred to as vertebral cavity. Superficial, on the outer layer of the skin. Remember, deep to the bone. Superior is up, supine is laying face up, like in bed. Systemic anatomy, study of the structures that contribute to specific body systems. Thoracic cavity, division of the anterior ventral cavity that houses the heart, lungs, esophagus, and trachea. Tissue, a group of similar or closely related cells that act together to perform a specific function. Muscle tissue, best way to think about it. Transverse plane, two-dimensional horizontal plane that divides the body or organ to superior and inferior positions. Just remember, it's rotation. That's what that's about. Ultrasound upgrade. Ultrasound. Ventral. Front or direction toward the front of the body. Also referred to as anterior. Ventral cavity. Large body cavity located anterior to the posterior body cavity. Includes the serous membrane-lined pleural cavities for the lungs, pericardial cavity for the heart, and peritoneal cavity for the abdominal and pelvic organs, also referred to as anterior body cavity. X-ray, form of high-energy electromagnetic radiation with a short wavelength capable of penetrating solids and ionizing gases. It's mainly used for bones. Okay. Just a little review. In my opinion, when I took A&B, it really didn't matter too much about the intro. I mean, it is basics, but it gets harder later on. Intro really wasn't it. These are some of the few questions here, but let me see. Okay, well, that's chapter 2. If you most likely will have chemistry at this point, because I remember you gotta have chemistry. You know, it's a prereq. Not gonna get too into it. No, because it's chemistry. Okay, well, I'm just gonna gloss over this. You can learn all of that in chemistry. Alright. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully you're sleeping by now. Or maybe you're up and you're just listening to what I gotta say. I'm gonna have part 2. Obviously, I don't really want to talk about chemistry. But part 2 will be the next chapter. The systems are much more difficult. So, yeah. Take care, dream time.